I'm excited to be here, beyond belief. What I'm going to have to do is make sure that I contain myself. So you may get a couple of things where I'm completely out of the screen because I'm moving. I'll do my best. But I'd say this first, just in regards to, the head coach search, how I ended up here. One of the things would be that I told my agent, Rick Smith, I said, make sure that they think I'm Matt Campbell. So I think that's how this has really worked out great for me. So now that I'm in the seat, I am Dan Campbell. And but I do know this, you can't go wrong with a Campbell. Listen, I need to thank a lot of people here first. Look, I'm excited to be here beyond belief. I'm excited. This is one of those jobs that I identified. I told my agent, whatever you have to do to get me in front of Sheila and Rod, please do. When this became available, because I played here, I know the city, I know what it's about, I know the people, and it's a special community, it's a special place, and I'm going to get into that more here in a minute. I have to think a lot of people. Okay, first and foremost, my wife Holly. We've been married for over 20 years. She's been my rock, man. She's moved with me. She tells me exactly how it is, in a good way, so I know well, not always in a good way, but my point is that she's going to let me know exactly what she thinks. And that's a good thing. My kids, my son, Cody, my daughter, Piper, they've moved and acclimated and they've been my biggest supporters. So, I have to thank them first. Look, I've been influenced by a number of people, but R.C. Slocum was my college coach. He was phenomenal, man. I learned so many tools of the game, learned how to respect the game. I knew situations of the game. Bill Parcells certainly was a huge influence on me. He's just the way that he teaches you to dive into the game, but more importantly, what makes a player tick? How do you get the most out of a player? And I'm forever indebted into him. I had a tight end coach at the New York Giants named Mike Pope, who honestly probably taught me more about the game than anybody did at any given time. He taught me offensive football from the quarterback standpoint, all the way to the run game. So the late great Tony Sperano, he was my tight end coach at Dallas, and then took me under his wing in Miami as a coach. I'm forever grateful for him. Look, there's a number of people I'm going to miss, but I want to make sure I highlight some of these. And then, look, last but certainly not least, when you start talking about the New Orleans family that I just came from, listen, all those guys that I was on this offensive staff, man, I owe them everything. All right. Because we all put in the work and we all worked together. And I was the man who I drew the lucky straw, but Dan Rochar, O-line coach, Joel Thomas, running back coach, Pete Carmichael, OC, Joe Lombardi, quarterback coach, RC, man, my receiver coach, CJ's receiver coach, DJ, he was working with quarterbacks, Declan, he was kind of under me. So all these guys, man, we, Brandon Nugent, O-line. So, man, we put in the work, and you talk about a compatible unit. And I'm just talking about us offensively, not to mention the defensive staff, but you talk about a working environment. It was phenomenal. And that's what I want to create here, is just a bunch of guys that, man, they want to better themselves. They want to learn from the game. They want to learn about the game, but they want to grow together. And one man's strength is another man's weakness, and vice versa. And we know how to cover for each other. Sean's big believer in compatibility is more important than coachability. And, well, you can say, well, coach, I get it. You get it. The point is compatibility is important. It's highly important. And it doesn't matter. You can put the best coaches in the room, and if they're all a bunch of alphas and they're trying to eat each other alive, you're never going to get anything done. So I'm very conscious of those things. Look, Mickey Loomis was phenomenal to me. He was always a sounding board for me. He was excellent. He was a man that, he knew how to play off of Sean Payton. He did. And those two working together, that's the model for how Brad and I are going to work together. And in my opinion, it's a collaborative effort. It's give and take. And, but listen, it's been proven to work. All right. Last but not least, Sean Payton is probably, I owe Sean probably more than anybody in this profession. He gave me an opportunity as a player and as a coach, and nobody's believed in me more than Sean Payton and knew exactly what I was and what I could do. And Sean was always about, give me a player that I know exactly who he is and what he's going to be every day, and I can do something with that guy. It's the guys that are up and down and the ones that they spike here, and then all of a sudden they're down. He said, I don't know what to do with those guys. I got nothing for them. But you give me a guy who I know who he's going to be every day and what he can do, and we can work with that guy. And so I'll never be able to thank him enough. I've learned more football under him in my time as a player, but now as a coach, for being under him 5 years, about how you see the game, all right, how you use your staff, how you hire your staff, situational football, when to go for it, when to not, when's the time to be aggressive, when's the time to back off. But a majority of the lessons that I have are from him, and so I'll forever be grateful for that. I know I'm going to miss a ton of people, and so for all of you, man, all the ex-players, listen, all those guys in that locker room, man, they were unbelievable, and those are the guys. They're another reason why I'm sitting where I am at right now, and I'm actually not sitting, I'm standing, but they are the reason why. And I'm talking about a great group of guys, good character, but man, you talk about some ballers and guys that were willing to lay it on the line for each other, and that's how you win games. All right, so let me go back. Let me start here again. I wanted this job bad because I felt like I knew this community. I played here. All right, here's what I know. Just as an overall philosophy, you're going to say, well, what's this team going to be? What's it not going to be? Here's what I know. All right, I know that Detroit's made up of great people, some really good people. All right, this community is strong. This place has been kicked, it's been battered, it's been bruised, and I can sit up here and give you coach speak all day long. I can give you, hey, we're going to win this many games. I can't. None of that matters, and you guys don't want to hear it anyway. You've had enough of that shit. So excuse my language. All right. Here's what I do know is that this team is going to take on the identity of this city. All right, and the city's been down, and it found a way to get up. All right, it's found a way to overcome adversity. All right, and so this team's going to be built on, we're going to kick you in the teeth. All right, and when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. All right, and we're going to stand up. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. All right, and on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up. And then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing. All right, that's going to be the mentality. All right, and we're going to learn that any loss that we take, we're going to make sure we feel the full pain of it and not go numb to it and learn from it and not to want to taste it again. All right, we're going to be competitive every game. I can't sit up here and guarantee wins and losses, and I just can't do it. But I'll guarantee you this, man, these guys are going to fight, and they're going to scratch and claw, and they're going to be something this city's proud of because they're going to take on the identity of this city. All right, the ones that have to learn, man, it ain't always going to be roses up here. Everything's going to be, the way that we all want it to be and look perfect. But I know this, man, we're going to fight, we're going to scratch, and we're going to claw. And I know the good teams find a way to get it done. And if somebody goes down, the next one steps up, and he's expected to produce enough to help those guys next to him win. These guys are going to learn to play together, play for one another. I'm not going to ask these guys to do anything that I've never had to do or never been asked somebody else to do, or for that matter, as coaches. I'm going to find the right staff. I'm going to find a staff that's not loaded with just a bunch of people that look good on paper. Man, I am scouring, I was going to say the country, but even beyond the country, if you will. I'm looking for the best coaches I can find for the best spots. All right, there's great coaches out there. You just got to find them. But I want exactly what I said earlier about what Sean's comment was about, man, hey, look, you're looking for compatibility. Here's the other thing that Sean always used to say when it came to the roster, but it comes with the people around you as well. And that is, it's not about the best 53, it's about the right 53. And I think that way as a staff. All right. this opportunity was given to me from Rod, and Sheila, and then the Ford family, Mrs. Ford, all right, Martha, Bill, Elizabeth. I got to meet them yesterday, and look, they all want the same thing. They just want a winner, like you guys do, and our players do. And I want to help give them that, just like we all do. Listen, I didn't know Brad before I got here. All right, I did my homework, no different than he did. We had a lot of mutual contacts, and I didn't hear one bad word about Brad. And I've been in contact with him for a while, and man, this has been nonstop. We left here almost midnight last night. I mean, we've been going through everything. But I've told him this. I said, listen, I'm not going to make a hire without you approving it, and I don't have to do that. And he's basically said the same thing to me. Listen, I could find the best coach in the world and feel great about him. And if I go to Brad and Brad's like, there's just something about this guy I don't know, he's going to make me think twice about doing it, because that's how I want it to be. Because he and I are tied to the hip. This guy, he's unbelievable now. You want to talk about vision? We see the game very much the same way. We see players very much the same way. And last night we were talking, we finished each other's sentences twice. One of them was about vision. But that, more importantly, we're not in the business of just stacking players. Let's find a vision for this guy. Because when you find a vision for a guy, now you know how to play him, how to put him in your system. All right. But the guys that you don't, he could be the most athletic guy in the world. If you don't have a vision for him, what are you going to do with him? And so I think it's important. And so our relationship, man, up to this point it's been outstanding. Listen, Chris Spillman, I know there's been a lot of things. What is Chris? What is Chris doing? Blah, blah, blah. Chris has been an outstanding resource for me and for Brad, for everybody. And even yesterday, he came in, he's Dan, listen, this is your show. What can I do? Can I help you? Is there somebody I could run down for you? Is there a coach you want me to call and just vet? It's been nothing but a working relationship. He's been a resource. He's played in this league. Listen, he was an excellent player. And he's got excellent instincts as well. He's a resource. That's what he is. And you want to talk about a team guy, he's in the same mold as we are. You want to change the culture of a team, it gets thrown around, it starts at the top. Sheila Hamp, all right, that's where it starts. I was sold within 10 minutes of my interview with her. She is a genuine soul. She wants to win. She is heartfelt. She is humble. And all I want to do is give her success. That's what I want to do. I want her to succeed, and I don't want to let her down. No different than any of them here. Mike Disner's been excellent. He's been working the cap and doing these things and helping us, with kind of working through coaches and talking to coaches. And so the support staff is unbelievable. And just to go back, I know I'm a little scattered here, but it starts at the top. All right. Rod has been unbelievable. Rod has already said, listen, here's the information, Dan. Take with it what you want. It's your decision. It's your decision. What do you want to do with it? Nobody's dictating anything here, but we're getting the best information that we can get. And here's what I know about winning teams. When it starts at the top and it works its way down, it goes right into the locker room. And when it's functional up top and it's flowing and, man, we're efficient and we're moving and everybody knows there's one voice, those guys feel it. And that's how they play. And they grow. They have pride in what they're a part of. No different than anybody in this organization. And listen, that's why I'm here. All right. That's why I'm with these people. And the fact that I put Matt down as my name instead of Dan. But listen, there's no secret. You got to get good people around you who are all pulling in the same direction. It's team. It's all about team. There's no ego. Brad and I are going to we both have say on the 53-man roster. We have to agree. So we're going to go in a room, all right, and we're just going to fight until one of us comes out, and we'll see what happens. No, we are going to collaborate. We're going to come up with the best answer, all right, the best solution. What can we do with this guy? Is it more for the future? Is it for now? But listen, and that's not going to be a problem. I want it that way. I want people to challenge me on an idea. I don't want to have a bunch of people that agree with everything that I say. That's a recipe for disaster. I don't want a bunch of people who drink a gallon of coffee like I do in a day. But you find the right mix and the right balance of people. But I know this, when it starts at the top and it's right, then it'll go down. It'll trickle down to where it's supposed to. And those guys are going to have pride in where they're at, who they play for, how they're going to play. And, you'd say more times than not, that leads to success. And there's only one way to do it. And it's to do it the right way. And that's the other thing that intrigued me about Sheila. She wants to win bad, but she's not going to sell her soul to the devil to do it. Neither am I. Listen, I learned a lot in my time at Miami. I know these questions are going to come up, but listen, I got through the lumps of a season as a head coach. And, I was able to go through 12 games, man. You go through the game management. You go from you get disruption on the sidelines to when to use timeouts to, what players going in. Who are the 46 that are going to be up on game day? This coach is not playing this player enough. He only played 10 plays or 5 plays. So you're going through all these things that I wasn't ready for. I wasn't. And because I'd never been in that situation, in that role. And I've been through those lumps. So I've got some experience. Is it a ton? No, but I do. And so at least I'm past that point. And now we can build this the way that we want it. I get to start from scratch with Brad. And, man, last night we looked at each other and we were like, you know what? We can do this the way we want to do this, the right way. He came from a winning program, no different than I did. We've seen success. We know what it looks like. And, man, we got the right people in place here to get it done. I mean, you talk about our facilities are outstanding. These are outstanding. And maybe I'm recruiting free agents right now. Who knows, right? You never know. But I'm serious. We have top-notch facilities. They've spared no expense to make sure that the players have everything they need to have success and to recover and use anything at their resource to become better players. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for. So listen, I want – my job is to make this team better, make it competitive, make it a winner. And look, I can't guarantee wins, but I know this, man. My job is also to get this city back on its feet. I can say all I want to do, everything about, man, this is what, and I get it. I don't blame you fans one bit. I get it, man. You've seen these. There's no telling how many of these press conferences you've seen. I'm not going to stand up here and give you coach speak, but I'm going to tell you this, man. This team is going to freaking take on your identity. All right. There's been enough hard times here, and you always found a way back up. And this team's going to freaking do the same thing. And every time we get hit, we're going to get back up stronger. That's what I do know. I'm going to put the right coordinators in place. I'm going to put the right staff together with those coordinators. All right. They're going to be the right mix, the right balance that complement who I am and know how to deliver the message. Brad and I are going to be tight at the hip, and we're going to make sure that we see everything right down the line with our coordinators as to how we see this team looking. What is the shape of this roster, man? How do we see these? What is the length of our outside linebackers, man? Where do we see our tackles, our guards, the girth? What about our speed on the outside? What about our back? We're like that. Everything's going to be in line. All right. Now, we're not going to agree on everything, but I can tell you this, man, just knowing this man for the time I've known him and vetting him myself, he's exactly like I am. He wants the same things I do. He's no different than me. Look, when things go hard, you're going to see me stand up. When they go good, I want to just fall to the wayside. He's no different than that. So, look, I wanted this job. I wanted to be here, man. I think this is a special place. I think this is special because I know this. When we bring a winner to this city, it's going to be something we can all be proud of. Any questions?
All right, Mike O'Hara, DetroitLions.com.
Yeah, Coach, I got a question. Obviously, you've got a lot of work to do, and you got to build a staff and all that. Where do you stand with your coordinators, offense, defense, and special teams? Have you hired anybody? Are you close to anybody?
Well, I was actually getting ready to hire 2 guys, and then I had to come do this press conference. So I think that's a joke. No, I'm working through it right now. Look, I've talked to a number of people. I've probably already interviewed, 4 coordinators on both sides of the ball. Look, it's no secret that I've talked to Aaron Glenn about defensive coordinator. I was with him, but he's somebody certainly I'm interested in. But listen, I'm working through that. And as soon as I get out of here, I'm taking this jacket and this tie off. I'm putting on my Lions gear and I'm going to work, man. I'm going to be on the phone. I'm going to be on my laptop, and we're going to be going.
Tim Twentyman, DetroitLions.com.
Hey, Dan, you said that, you'd never ask your players to do something that you've never done before. And being a former player, how has that shaped kind of, just your coaching style?
Well, look, I think that, for example, I understand, let's just take this for example, like something in the run game. All right. I know, not that I was the best athlete in the world, but I think I have a realistic, viewpoint of what somebody can do and can't. For example, you're on the backside, right? And you got a backside cutoff, and you're my right tackle, and we're going to ask you to try to go cut off a 2-eye. It's like, okay, this is ridiculous. It's not even feasible. You're trying to do some of these things that are, and so I think just from sometimes, look, I think if you're not careful, you're asking guys to do things that even though they're phenomenally talented, that it's could be impossible. And then I think a lot of it is who you're playing, man. I think that there's so many things about this game to where it's about matchups. Look, somebody's going to get into this, and I know this is going to be the next question. All right, you want to know about X's and O's and what's my philosophy? Here's my philosophy on offense and defense for that matter. We're going to run a system that puts our best on your worst. That's what we're going to do, because that's what we did in New Orleans. So we're going to find a way to put our guys in one-on-one matchups, whether it's run or pass. All right. I want to find, if you're telling me that our left tackle is better than their right end and we can run outside zone all day, we're going to run outside zone as long as we can cut off the backside. Why not? I mean, if we can exploit a weakness, we're going to do it. If you tell me that because of that, we need to run it 10 times in a row to open the game so we can throw it, guess what? We're going to run it 10 times. If you tell me that our X receiver cannot be stopped and they're not rolling to him at all, and we could throw Harveys all day or hitches or smokes and let him run, then we're going to do it. And you tell me we're going to do it 10 times because they're just not taking it away. They're not doubling. They're not rolling to cover 2. Then we'll do it. And if that means that's going to open up the run game, we'll do it. They get into cover 2, then we'll start running it. So I'm into exploiting weaknesses with our strengths. And that more importantly is what I believe in more than, hey, look, I'm not a system guy as far as I'm going to come in with this. I've been through all of them. I've seen all of them. So I'm not caught up on that. I want to find the best coordinator who's going to come in and he's going to have the vision of how he wants to run it with mine. There's concepts that I know work and that we did well that I'm going to implement and want implemented. But other than that, let's put our guys in the best position to have success. That's what I'm about. Defensively, whoever my defensive coordinator is, it's going to be about running his system, yet let's put our guys in the best position. If you tell me we got a corner who's an unbelievable blitzer, well, let's cat blitz him. Let's bring it. Let's let him do what he does well. That's in a nutshell. That's what I believe.
Dave Burkett, Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Dan, welcome back to town. First of all, can't imagine amazing how that feeling was to walk in here, 15 years later. Congrats.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah. Appreciate it.
And I think you got a lot of people out there fired up to go play football tomorrow. So.
Well, I could tell. Let me tell you this. When I arrived 3 nights ago, it was about, 12:30, 1 in the morning. There was 2 fans waiting for me. Both had footballs. It's snowing. It's coming down. And you talk about, man, they were unbelievable. They were loyal. But I was fired up. I was, man. It was pretty cool.
No, we can tell. I think they appreciate that. I have 2 things. And the first one, this may be a little difficult for you to, talk about yourself in this regard, but talking to some of your old teammates about leadership. And one of them said, I guess one of the things is getting players to give you their all without demanding it from them, without demanding that they give you your all. So I was wondering if you could just speak on that concept, how you go about, leading people, what traits you see in yourself as being important as a leader.
Oh man. Yeah. That's when you do that, that's hard because it's, you're going to ask me to do something that you're going to ask me to speak on myself a little bit as far as that's regard. Look, I would say I've always viewed leadership as more of a servant role. You lead by being a servant and you do things that, that guys gravitate to. And when they see that you're willing to do it and you're not batting an eye at it, like it's not even, it's just water off a duck's back. Like they do it. Cause it's like, well, man, look at this guy. He's just running right through it. No problem. Here we go. And so I've kind of always looked at things that way. Leadership to me has always been one of those things. It's been hard for me, especially when I was younger, to be someone that said, well, I'm a leader. I'm going to stand up and lead. I was never that way. It was always, I had something would come up and things would bubble inside of me, right? They would bubble. I could feel the heat on the back of my neck. And it's say something. And I think that's where it began. And when I felt something, I said something. So I'm a pretty genuine guy, and it's hard for me to have fake emotion or be something I'm not. So I think my leadership comes from that. I think that I'm about people, and I think I understand people, not everybody, but I want to know people, and I want to understand what makes a player tick and who they are, where they came from, because there's a reason why everybody everybody has some things in their life that either, they react negatively to or positively to. And I think when you can get into the nuts and bolts of who the human is, then you realize maybe the reason that guy showed up late was something very simple that's going on in his life, as opposed to, just reacting and blowing your top over the fact that he's late. Maybe actually something is going on. Now, I would blow my top and, have a problem, but I would sit down afterwards and say, what's going on? What is there something I need to know? And let's find out, cause look, let's be honest, man, these kids nowadays, these men, they got a lot going on, and this whole social media, I mean, they have a lot of stress put on them, yeah, they make a lot of money and life's good. I get it. You're right. And we should all be thankful, but there's a lot of stress put on them, and they got a lot of, pressure from family and fans, and it's the whole fantasy leaderboard, and so there's things sometimes that get to them, and but my job is to make sure that their focus is on the main thing, and that's about playing ball and being about the team first. You put your ego in the back seat and let's get in the boat and let's all roll the same direction, because when we all win, then you'll win individually, but we got to win first as a team.
Appreciate that. And then I just want to ask you, since you mentioned compatibility being so important, can you share a little bit more of your first, the first meeting that you met Brad? What was that like? Any anecdotes that you talked about, both saying that, hey, we got a chance to do this the right way. So maybe you could share a little bit more of that story.
Yeah. Well, listen, like I said, we've been in contact on the phone, for a while now, just bouncing stuff off of each other. But I would just say that he is, like we were talking about makeup of a player last night. We were talking about vision of what you're looking for each player. But, man, he's like, Dan, listen, my job is to give you exactly what you need to help you implement the system, the schemes that you guys are looking for. And that starts with me, and then it goes to my coordinators, right? And so when you're a head coach and you have a GM who you can tell listen, not to mention the people that I know that he knows, the mutual contacts that, rave about this guy, that was first and foremost, because these people that I'm talking to, I've got the utmost respect and trust in. And so that goes a long way. And then to sit down with a guy and he, as the GM, is telling you, Dan, I want to give you exactly what you need, man. I want to give you exactly what you need, and just give me the vision of what you're looking for so we can go out and find it. Man, that's all you can ask for as a head coach. And then as it pertains, listen, Brad and I are going to really dive into the roster this weekend that is currently here. But we're already talking on the same page of, hey, man, listen, you dive into it. I'm going to dive into it. We're going to come together collaboratively, and we'll come up with our own ideas as to how you feel about this guy, how you do. Then let's come together and talk about him. We'll go through salaries. We'll hit it all. But look, Brad's already got a vision of how he wants this thing to move forward as it pertains to our own players. And then he's already working with talking about the draft and the Senior Bowl and all these things that are getting ready to transpire. And so, man, he's been unbelievable on that end. Like vision is a big word to me, man. It's something that means because we use it all the time in New Orleans. Man, you got to have vision for a coaching staff, for a coaching position. You got to have vision for your team. You got to have a vision for the player. You have a vision for a coach. And because if you don't, then you're just kind of spinning your wheels, right? They're just somebody that's there. But man, when you got a vision, you have a clear picture of where you want somebody to be or what you want it to look like. Brad's got that, man. And I'm that way too. He's an out of the box thinker, no different than I am. I mean, you talk about, hey, look, this guy's an athlete. Do you think maybe he could play cornerback? Do you think maybe he could play receiver? Do you think? And so like in that regard, it's been great. I mean, we've already bounced a few things off of each other. There's a couple of things I've already liked that he's like, yeah, I see what you see, but I'm not as high. And I love it, man. I mean, that's exactly what this is about, the collaboration. And so as a head coach, everything has been about, Coach, what do you need? What do you need? How can I help you? And I told Brad, what can I do for you? Tell me how I can help you. Can I get you something that's going to help you do your job as well? So, and I've already said it, man, I don't want to make a move without him knowing about it. Like, we're going to be on the same page, and we're in this thing together. I don't have to do that. Just like he doesn't have to tell me anything. We were both hired under the same umbrella with Sheila and Rod. And so, but man, I think it's important, and that's how you win. I mean, this is a marriage. So we're going to make this thing work.
Justin Rogers, Detroit News.
Welcome back, Dan.
Thank you.
Were you a little surprised Don Muehlbach was still hanging around?
I was here with Big Don. Yeah.
So
the mule.
the culture is the big conversation today, in installing culture. And I think when a new voice comes in, there's a natural eagerness to embrace it and to bounce. I'm wondering, just working under Sean and learning from Sean these last few years, what did you learn about establishing a long-term culture? Because I think that's a real difficult thing to do in this league.
Yeah, look, I think it starts with the people. I think it starts with the right people. You got to have you have to have people that don't have egos. They have real humility. They're hardworking. They're people that want to do, and they want to say, they want to be everything that you represent. And I think it all starts there. And that's what we built in New Orleans. Look, I would say one of the biggest things that happened is, look, Mrs. Benson was unbelievable there. And she was, listen, Dennis, you guys, you tell Mickey, you tell Sean, whatever they need from me, they got it. And so really it started with ownership, and then it's Mickey and Sean. I'm telling you, look, did they have some rough days? Yeah, they did. But I mean, you're talking about, this thing's been going over 15 years out there, and they always find a way to make it work. And man, there's a lot of give and take, but I mean, ultimately that to me is the biggest reason, because if those guys were fractured and it wasn't working, and there was always this, hey, it's your guy, it's his guy. Because I've been part of that, man. I've been part of the, hey, scouting department is, man, they're high on this guy, and you hear the rumblings, and then it's the coaches are saying, no, I don't know what he's talking about. We didn't have any of that in New Orleans, man. It was, everybody knew, how do we help Sean? How do we help Sean? What can I do for Sean Payton? Because he is the voice and the vision. And so it's no secret why we have success. Listen, we had some damn good players too, man. I mean, Drew Brees is freaking as classy as they get. He's unbelievable, man. And that team wanted to, they took on that identity, no different than their coach. But that's the biggest reason to me. Those two were able to butt heads, but yet see eye to eye enough to where, listen, man, everybody knew exactly who was in charge, and there was never any of these, these closed door conversations about somebody and, what is he talking about here? No. We were all moving the same direction. So that's my vision for Brad and myself, and there's going to be a clear line of communication between us two and Sheila and Rod. I mean, this thing is going to be transparent. It's going to be open, man. I want to galvanize this building. I want to galvanize downtown at the stadium. I want to galvanize this city. I mean, listen, you may be who knows, you may be at the subway down the street and I may just pop in with a camera. All right. So you just be ready. All right. Because I'm going to go in there and say, hey, what do you think about your new head coach? And if you don't know who I am, I'm just going to give you a hard time, just so you know. So, but listen, I think that's where it starts. Here's the other thing I would say, Justin, is that Sean did an outstanding job of confrontation. And I don't mean that in a negative light. He would tell you exactly where you stood and what he had a problem with and what he saw that was good in any coach, all right, in any player. And I think that goes a long way. I think there's a lot of people nowadays that have a hard time of saying things the way they really are. And I think they have a hard time of telling these grown men that they're wrong or they don't like what they're doing and explaining why they don't like it and what the problem is. And, for example, if a guy comes in late, I'm just hypothetical, and you don't say a word to him, but you just fine him, it does nothing. It does nothing. Like, you need to talk to the kid, talk to him, open up what's going on. Why were you late? This is not going to happen again. Like, you have to confront. And it's healthy. It's the only way you learn. And Sean is as good as anybody. Listen, we've all been corrected with Sean Payton plenty of times. But listen, everybody knows who's in charge and everybody's in line. And they understand when you're right and when you're wrong.
We got a lot more, but I think we're all trying to move forward with our day. So another day. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thanks, Justin.
Kyle Meinke, M Live.
Dan, nice to meet you. Welcome to Detroit.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
I read, Dan, that you said just today to the team reporter that you think this roster is closer than many think to competing. You also said in this press conference that you don't want to give coach speak to people because they've heard this same shit for years, and that's some shit people around the city have heard for years. That the
three of them. I started the first one. Three.
I'm just quoting you, my man.
No, I like it. I'm with you. You're right.
No, but that is a line that people have heard for many years here. So I guess what gives you the belief that that's a reality, and what can you do and your staff do to get, to help this roster achieve the potential?
I'm with you, Kyle. I appreciate that, man. And look, I like I say, Brad and I are going to dive into that this weekend as it pertains to the roster. But here's what I know from afar as I've looked and some of the tape that I have watched is I just know this, man. There's some pieces here that I'm fired up about. I really am. And look, let's call a spade a spade. There's probably more pieces offensively than defensively that super fire me up. But that's tentatively kind of how I feel. I'm going to go through it. But I also know this, man, there's always the ability to hit on a good draft and sign a few free agents that you feel like believe the same way that you do as a program and come from winning programs, and they fit a role, they fit a piece, listen, some things can happen. You can kind of make things a little more positive than maybe the perception is in the spring. So that's what I mean by that. This is, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that that it's not going to take some work. I mean, Brad said it best yesterday. There is going to be some retooling that's going to be needed. And those are the facts that matter. But what I'm saying is there's some pieces here that I certainly like and you can work with. And you could see, man, if you could complement some of these pieces, whether it be draft or free agency, I could see this thing. I could see this thing being pretty positive moving forward. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, Kyle.
I know Justin respectfully bowed out. The second question, I'm going to get a little greedy and ask one more. You're talking about pieces that you can build around. I'm just curious your thoughts on Matthew Stafford and whether, you think he's a piece you want to build around going forward.
Well, I'd say this. That's another one we're going to talk about. I need to sit down with Brad. I mean, we've had discussions, but here's what I'd say about Matthew is, man, he's a stud. All right. He's a stud. He is one of the toughest quarterbacks you'll ever see. He's extremely talented. I know he's a team guy. And listen, I know he wants to win. And so I'll leave it at that. That's what I do know.
All right, we'll go Chris Burke next. As we go through the next list of questions here to get everybody's question in, let's please limit to one per turn. Chris?
Hey, Dan, congratulations. Nice to meet you from afar here.
Yeah, you too, Chris.
So obviously, you mentioned, just the importance of being a former player. Sheila and Rod both mentioned that, especially the importance of playing in Detroit. I guess to flip it to the other side, are there any challenges to having come up as a player in, I don't want to say a different era, it wasn't that long ago, but obviously the game looks a little different than it did 15 years ago, and the rules are a little different, practice rules are a little different. Is there anything you've had to learn along the way to make sure you're still relating to players you're coaching?
This is going to be in relation to the Oklahoma drill, right? That's what you really want to ask.
If you want to talk about the Oklahoma drill, we can, but well, I just mean all of it, the social media. I mean, there's so much.
This cracks me up. And let me explain what the so-called Oklahoma drill was. It was, I took a right tackle and I took a left defensive end and I put them across from each other, and I had a quarterback sitting in gun, and I just had somebody snapping the ball. That's all it was. It was one-on-one. And so, like, when I think of Oklahoma, I think of you got linemen over each other, right? You're in this box, this 5x5 box. You got a lineman over one, lineman over, linebacker behind him, ball carrier. Here we go. And so that I never did that, but I do one-on-ones because I believe in them. I believe in that you put guys in positions to where they either rise to the top or they get exposed. I think the more you can put, particularly a young player, in a position to where he has to overcome adversity or he gets exposed in front of his teammates, I think the quicker that he learns to grow. I think it's better that you find that out in that setting than you do on Sunday when the game's on the line. And I think you find out a lot about a player. I think you find out about vets that way, honestly. There's a lot of guys, boy, they look great in practice. And when the game's not on the line, boy, they look good. But all of a sudden, when it really comes time to be counted on, oh man, he got beat. Well, he graded out perfect except for that one or two plays. Well, yeah, but those one or two plays are always when the game's on the line. So I think you can find some of those things out, because you'd be shocked when you get put in front of your peers as to how somebody may or may not respond. So I'm big on that. Look, yes, the game has changed quite a bit, certainly the rules of it. And look, I'm all about the rules. Now we're going to get close to the rules, and we will walk the line of the rules, but we will definitely not break those rules. So, look, there's a certain way that I believe in practicing and playing the game. But I'm also a big believer in sports science. Let's put it that way. Maybe that helps. So I think recovery of an athlete is huge, especially in these demanding in the nature of the way these guys play now. And it's a grueling season. It's demanding. And so hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan.
All right, Chris.
Michael Rothstein, ESPN.
Hey, Dan, congrats on getting the job. Thanks for being very forthright with a lot of candor so far. I'm curious what you learned from your experience on that 2008 team.
Well, if I'm being totally transparent, I got hurt in game one against Atlanta, and I was put on injured reserve. My family was back in Texas, my wife and kids, so I was actually back home in Texas for that season. Now, I was around that roster in the spring training camp leading up to that, and so, look, nobody likes that taste for sure, and there's always a lot of lessons that can be learned from losing. You just got to make sure that you learn them and you correct them, because if you don't, then you're destined to do the same thing over and over, right?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Lage, Associated Press.
Welcome back, Dan.
Hey, thank you.
Take me back to when you finished up the interim gig, did a solid job, but you're probably wondering, like, am I going to get another shot? And now to have that shot, take me back then and how it feels to be standing there now.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly how I felt. I knew I could do this. I knew this was something that I felt like I was born to do. And boy, there was a whole list of things that I wrote down is that I wish I'd have done this better, man. I should have learned from this. This would have been something that, had moving forward, I would have done. And so, I can tell you exactly what happened. Sean Payton called me immediately and he said, hey, you know, I'd love to have you out here. Come out here with me. And I had a couple of other offers going on, but Sean's like, listen, you come out here, you be my assistant head coach, and I'll fill in all the pieces for you. I'll fill in everything you need and you need to know, and I'll show you exactly what it's supposed to look like. You know, he goes, look, I know you know how to coach the position. I know you know offense, and you can grow from these things. He goes, but as a head coach, I'll fill in this stuff for you. I'll show you about the draft. I'll show you about players. I'll show you about the staff. I'll show you about game situations. And I'll let you stand up in front of the room. I'll let you lead these guys. And so, man, he was right. And I did. And I trusted him, and I've always trusted him. And he took me under his wing. And, man, I was a sponge. That's what I was. I was a sponge. I did exactly what he needed me to do, asked me to do. You know, if I felt like there was some fires I needed to put out before they got to him, I would do that. You know, I felt like that was one of my jobs. And, but he allowed me to grow, and that's one of the best compliments a coach can ever give to another coach. He allowed me to grow into the role that I'm about to take on right now.
Thank you.
You bet.
John Macaroon, SI.
Yeah, like Eamon said, I'm John Macaroon with SI, the Detroit Lions site. Thanks, Dan, for the time. I appreciate it. I do have one question with a couple parts. It's about the quarterback position. Obviously, you guys possess the number 7 pick. Are you guys interested in a nice young college quarterback to potentially start this tenure with? And 2, what's your philosophy on playing younger quarterbacks? Do you believe they need to sit and learn from a veteran, or should they just be ready to be thrown in and get right into NFL action?
Well, I believe that, man, you let them go and you let them win until they can't. And then if they can't, they sit behind a veteran who can. That was a joke. I'm sorry, John. But listen, I'm open to anything right now. As we've said, you know, Sheila and Rod and certainly Brad and myself, we're going to discuss. Look, there's a million avenues that you can go with the quarterback talk. And so this is just too early right now to talk about that. Literally, this is my second day in Detroit. And yesterday was, you know, I was on the phone all day, and now, you know, this is my first introductory press conference. So John, I promise you we're going to get to it, but I feel like it's just too mature right now. Immature, sorry.
Mike Stone, 97.1.
Yeah, Dan, welcome back. You obviously have been here with the culture, the losing. There's 3 letters that Lions fans always hang on to, SOL, same old Lions. Besides just winning games, how do you get that changed around here where we don't sit there and say, oh, heard this, done that, same old Lions?
Oh, well, I think a lot of it is I think that we need to bring some hope back into this place, man. I think, listen, I'm willing to do whatever, man. I'm not kidding you. I think, I think I'm a big mind over matter person, and a lot of you are going to think I'm a kook a little bit here, but I do believe you can will things to happen in some regard. Like if you are a really positive thinker, I believe that positive things can happen to you, and those around you begin to grow from that, and they feel your energy. You know, there was a young lady who left when I was in New Orleans. She used to leave these notes. They were kind of little motivational notes, always, you know, getting ready for the game. They'd be laying there, and so one of the notes was, you know, don't adapt to the energy in the room, influence it. And I'm a big believer in that. That's kind of me in a nutshell. And man, I believe that when you think the right things and you're around the right people and you deliver a message of hope and you get your players to buy into that hope and you get the fans to buy into that hope, it becomes more than just one person. It becomes more than one team. It becomes more than one community. It becomes all of us. And I'm a believer in that. I think this is greater than just one football team. I think the football team can spark something great here. And, listen, just deep down in my core, that's what I believe, man. I don't want to sell you guys something that you've been sold so many times over and over. Believe me, I get it. And I wouldn't want any of you guys to just jump on board right now and be like, oh, I'm sold. I got it 100%. And I wouldn't expect you to, but I'm going to do everything in my power to win you guys over and get our team to win you guys over. And at the end of the day, I know wins and losses are the only thing that matters, but when I say that I want our team to take on the identity of this city, I mean it. And they're going to hear that from me. This is the first time they've heard it, just like you have, but they're going to hear it from me, and it's going to mean something. All right. It's going to mean something. It's going to mean that when you come into Detroit, you're going to leave beat up. All right. And I'm talking about as a team. I'm not saying when we get the tourists come in, people want to come in, but listen, man, this is a resilient city, but it's made up of good blue collar, hardworking people. And that's what our team's going to look like. They're going to learn to get up, and they're going to learn to fight again.
Corey Woods, Woodward Sports.
Hey, Dan, welcome to Detroit.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Question. So do you feel that there's anything different with this Lions team that you would have done over the past few seasons as far as their coaching and their talent? Like their record over the past few seasons, do you think it's a reflection of talent on the team or how they were coached? And what would you have done differently?
Oh, listen, man, I appreciate the question, Corey, but I think that's a hard one to answer right now. Just because I haven't been here, and man, whatever happened with the old regime, I don't even want to, discuss. Let's just that's water under the bridge. And look, all I know is that from afar, there's a lot of players that I've had respect for on this team that I think are good players, that are still here in some regards, and I'm excited to work with. And so, man, I don't want to feel like I'm dodging it, Corey, but I just feel like I feel like I can't answer that one right now.
John Neo, Detroit News.
Hey, Dan, welcome back. Just wondering, how important is play calling experience for you with these coordinator hires? How important is it to get them right the first time around, I guess? And then also, what challenges do you think you'll face if this is another virtual offseason, just in terms of putting your imprint on this thing?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing would be, I think what's more important than anything to me as far as an offensive coordinator is someone that I believe has the vision of the offense kind of the way I do, just in regards to, listen, I'm not going to get hung up on what you want to call the terminology. I'm not going to get hung up on the style of system that you want to put in. I'm more into, man, show me what are the nuts and bolts that you believe in. Show me, you a big gun run guy. Do you like under center? Or do you want to spread it out? Do you want to, is this a system of, hey, here we go, man, this is my deal. This is where we play. And we're not moving the pieces. The pieces stay in place. And guess what? If coverage dictates it, then that guy gets the ball. I'm not about that. I don't believe in that. I believe in those things will come up throughout a game, but at some point we're going to find a way to get our best players there again on your worst players. Like, how do we find those matchups? And okay, let's use your concepts, but now let's put Swift in the slot. All right. Let's take him out of the backfield and work him one-on-one with Will linebacker. I mean, so those are the things I'm looking for. I want to see, what about tempo? What do you believe about tempo? If you're my offensive coordinator, do you want to mix it in? Are you a spontaneous guy? What about empty? Do you like empty? Do you feel like it's hard on the quarterback? If it is empty, how many plays are you going to give him? You give him 5 plays that he can go to by coverage? Do you give him 2? So there's just a number of things I'm looking for. Look, I don't want a coordinator who's going to throw the ball 60 times a game, 50 times a game. It's not what I'm looking for. On the flip side of that, I'm not looking for somebody to run it 50 times a game. So I know there's this preconceived notion about me. Of course I want to run the football because there's a mentality about it. There's a physicality about it. It makes you better defensively as well when you do it against yourselves in practice. But ultimately, man, I want to find the best guy for the job that fits what I want to do and fits what we're trying to do here and could put our guys in the best situation to have success.
We have time for 5 more questions, starting with Justin Rose, WXYZ.
Hey, Dan, since you're okay with jokes, is it okay to refer to you as the dude from The Big Lebowski?
The dude, I've heard it. And the hair is not like it used to be, but it was, yeah, it looked a lot closer to the dude than it does now. So, yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, very good, very good. You mentioned Detroit, fans of the Lions have been battered, bruised, beaten, and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just wondering if your time away from Detroit after playing here, you heard, oh, it's the Lions. Oh, we're preparing for the Lions this week. If that maybe is something you want to change. You kind of mentioned at the beginning that you want to change the identity of maybe the outside perception of what Detroit is and bring that more into the light. Just can you expand on that just a little bit on how you go about doing that beyond just winning games?
Yeah. Listen, by the way, I'm going to apologize because I didn't answer the whole, how do you work through COVID? I apologize for that, for the question just a minute ago. And so now let me get back to what you just said, Justin. All right. So yeah, in a nutshell, the easiest answer to that is, yeah, I want people to, I want them to know when they come into this city and they walk into Ford Field, man, this thing is, they're not going to be able to hear. We're going to play fast. We're going to play violent. We're going to attack. We're going to have attacking mentality. You're not going to know where it's coming from. We'll have multiple personnel groups, offensively, defensively. I know this is much more of a sub game than it ever used to be, particularly most offenses. But this will be something to where I feel like there's an attitude, there's a pride in where you live and where you play. And I love the fact we play in a dome because it can get loud. We've been in the Superdome for 5 years, and when that place is going, you can't hear yourself think. And that's what you want. You want opponents to come in and say, you either want two things: them to say, man, this is going to be tough, and they're working on silent count all week, or they're like, man, this is exciting because the environment is electric, when you're one of those true competitors who's coming into play. But either way, it's the environment, man, that you're looking for. And so, yeah, I want there to be this demeanor about it. I want to bring something back that means something, man. There's a toughness to it. There's a grit to it. But look, the only way to do that is you got to have these small battles first, right? You got to do it with one win, and one win's got to lead to two, and two's got to lead to three. But along the way, even if there is a loss in there, man, it's got to be, man, whoever we just played came out, it was a dogfight. It was an all-out dogfight. And it's like, if we have to play those guys again, or if we have to see them in the playoffs, we're going to have some problems. And that's what you want. Ultimately, you just want a team that you go out there and you're going to compete, and you're trying to be in every game at the end of the game to give yourself the best chance to have an opportunity to win it.
Thanks. Congrats.
Thank you.
Carlos Menares, Detroit Free Press.
Yeah, hey, Dan. We talk a lot about culture, and Rod Wood himself has talked about, different criteria. Among that, he's talked about wanting an open and inclusive culture. You made some anti-gay remarks when you were a student at Texas A&M. Can you explain that situation and maybe what you learned from it?
Yeah, it was a bonfire comment. Texas was, I went to Texas A&M, but it was a rivalry game for us. And so you're in front of the student body. I was 22 years old. And, I made a comment about, I made a comment I shouldn't have made, is exactly what it was. And, at the time I was, oh man, this was, thought it was, something exciting. And I remember I got home and who is now my wife, my fiance at the time, was like, oh my God, what have you done? But she was right, and it slapped me right in the face after I had talked to her. And look, I apologized for it, and it was something. I was young, and I wish I wouldn't have said it. And and if I could go back, I wouldn't have. But it's here we are, and it's out there, and all I can do is apologize for it.
Bob Winowski, Detroit News.
Hello there, Dan. Welcome back.
Thank you.
When you're coming from a place, New Orleans, who had one of the all-time greats at quarterback in Drew Brees, and obviously a lot was built around him, but there were other elements. In your vision, do you have to have excellence at quarterback to win in this league? And how much does that have to be figured out for you to be successful here?
I think the short answer to that is no. but I think your odds go way up of having success when you find one of those guys. So I think that, look, this is a passing league right now. It just is. The numbers that are being put up grow every year in the pass game. So, look, I think that's certainly an important piece that every team needs. You know, you look at the greats and these teams that have had success throughout the last few years, last number of years, have a quarterback. They have a quarterback in place who's somebody that they feel like they can lean on and they're going to be able to rely on for a long period of time. So, yeah, certainly that's important. Do you have to have it? Well, no, but, man, tell me who the other guy is then, as to who's going to serve that role, And I think it's like anything else. If you don't have something, if maybe you're lacking in one area, boy, you better beef up another, right? So you better find a way to build on those things around that piece that maybe you don't have, so that you can, give yourself the best chance to win.
Michael Stetz, WJR.
Dan, congratulations on getting the gig.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yesterday in your introductory video with the team, you said we're gonna put Motown back on the map. If you can elaborate on that and what you need to do to succeed in doing just that.
Well, I think that's already started. I think what I meant by that was, look, it's no secret what we want to do here, right? I mean, look, if you're just talking about the standard of the division, I mean, you're talking about the Green Bay Packers right now. I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, those guys they're finding ways to win. They've been successful. I think that kind of starts there because it's in the division, man. How do we get to where they're at? Like that's where we want to get, right? We want to be competing for the division championship every year. If we're not shooting for that, then what are we doing? And then once you become a division winner, right, now you're starting to talk about the next level. All right. And you can only take things one game at a time, one season at a time. But I think what I've already stated is exactly how you get there. Look, for me, all I needed to know was who I was working for and what kind of people they were. And if it felt right, and I knew that we could add people that were just like them, but had experience in certain fields, and that, man, it's going to be hard for us not to have success. Now, it may take a little bit, but I bank on people, man. I put my faith in people more than anything else. It's a people business, and I believe that. And so, talent sometimes can be overrated. I'm sorry to say it. And certainly every team needs you're going to need some pieces, but I know this, man, it starts with the people. And if you get the right people and they have certain skill sets, and we use those to the best of their ability. And we we complement each other in every area, from the top to the bottom, the coaching staff, man, to video, right, to marketing, to sales, to the team. I feel like I think you're breeding success. That's how I view it.
All right. Last question, Ken Brown, WJR.
Hey, Dan, welcome back to town.
Thank you.
Question about where's your philosophy on personalities in the locker room? I know what you want playing wise, one voice, one team, but what do you feel about your locker room, how you want to see it personality wise?
Yeah, listen, man, at New Orleans, we had all kinds of personalities out there. They're all different. And look, there's personalities that are easier to deal with than others, but I know this, like, for example, in New Orleans, man, at the end of the day, no matter what was going on, when it came time to work as one unit and work together and be part of a unit, boy, those guys were on point. And there's no secret why we had success down there. So, look, my viewpoint is, as long as it's not distracting, as long as it's not distracting from the team, or a distraction, then the kid can play and he's team oriented, I got no problem with that. I mean, I'll say this, the player at the time when I was coming into Dallas as a free agent, as a player, was named Terry Glenn, and Terry had gotten a bad rep about some things, about his past and what he was like. He wasn't a team guy, and he's disruptive, and he's had off the field, and And so I didn't know Terry Glenn, and he came in as a free agent just like I did in Dallas. And I didn't know him, but I read that crap. And guess what? That was my first thought of him. And I remember I met him in the hallway at the same place we were staying, getting ready for off season. Man, I remember I met him. I'm like, man, I like this guy. And you know what? He's one of the best teammates I ever played with after that season. You talk about unselfish. Man, he just wanted to help the team. That dude, he'd block in the run game now. He'd mix it up. He'd finish his block. He was outstanding. And I remember at the end of that year, I said, I will never judge another book by its cover, because it was bad. He got beat up bad about his reputation and these things. And I'm telling you, he was one of the best teammates I ever had. So I'm open to personalities. Now, sometimes it can be a hindrance. It can be a problem, but listen, man, I got zero problem with personalities as long as we can keep them all in check and we're all pulling the same way.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Dan.